Hello friends, welcome to my channel ACE Biology. So in previous session we discussed about DNA and RNA structure. There we saw that DNA exists in a double helical structure. Now the DNA will be consisting of two strands. These two strands have the tendency to twist and turn around each other. Due to this twist and turn, a DNA may exist in different conformation. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss about DNA topology. So, DNA topology is nothing but it will deal with how these two complementary strands are twisted and turned around each other. Here we are going to come across a very common term, that is the linking number. So, linking number is nothing but a topological property of DNA, which is given by the sum of twist and writhe. Now, linking number can also be calculated by dividing the total number of base pairs by the base pairs per helical turn. Now, consider a case of covalently closed circular DNA which is present in a relaxed state. In that case, we'll be having 1050 base pairs, which can be divided by 10.5, because we know that base pairs per helical turn in this case will be 10.5. So our result will be 100 tons, which means that in case of a relaxed covalently closed circular DNA which is having 1050 bases and the base pairs per helical turn is 10.5, in this case will be a single strand will be twisted over the other strand about 100 times. Now, what exactly the term twist and writhe means? Twist is nothing but the number of times one strand wraps completely around the other strand. Okay, and writhe is the number of times DNA double helix is crossed over itself. You can see the difference here. Like in twist, we are taking only a single strand. Like a single strand will wrap around the other strand. But here, the whole of the double helix is getting twisted over itself. Now, depending upon the orientation, these values of twist and writhe can be either negative or positive. Here in the diagram, you can see in the first case, there is a turn of anti-clockwise and the value of twist is in negative. Here you can see there is a turn in clockwise direction and the value of twist is positive. In the case of writhe, you can see that this is a right-handed turn. Okay, this is clockwise and this one is anti-clockwise. So here the writhe will be negative and here the writhe will be positive. So on the basis of this only you can calculate the linking number, because linking number is represented by the sum of writhe and twist. Now, because of this twist and turn, supercoiling will be introduced in a DNA. Now, in a covalently closed circular DNA, which exists in a fully relaxed state, it won't be having any supercoiling, which means the linking number in that case would be 0. And here it is denoted by this. Now, if there is any change in the linking number, it will give rise to supercoiling. Now, supercoiling can be either negative or positive. So, what happens if the linking number, the new linking number that is introduced due to the turns and twist, if that is lower than the linking number that was in the relaxed state, then the delta linking number will be less than 0. Okay. this actually, from this delta linking number only, you are getting to know whether the DNA is positively supercoiled or negatively supercoiled. And delta linking number is nothing but the difference between the linking numbers. This is the linking number which is present after the introduction of certain twists and turns. This is the linking number of a DNA in the relaxed state. So what happens whenever this delta linking number is less than 0, which this will mean that the DNA is negatively supercoiled. And if this delta linking number is more than 0, this will imply that the DNA is positively supercoiled. So we know that under general condition, when DNA is relaxed, we'll be having 10.5 base pairs per turn. Now, if the DNA is underwound, which means it would be having greater number of base pairs per turn as compared to the relaxed state. Okay. So what will happen? If it is having a greater number of base pairs per turn, this will mean that it is less bound than the relaxed state. So there will be fewer number of twists, and because it is having a low number of twists, the linking number will also become lower. Now because of all these things, we know that a negative supercoiling will be introduced in the DNA. Now negative supercoiling coiled DNA are comparatively easy to separate. Why? Because they are less tightly bound as compared to the relaxed DNA. Now in the other case, if the DNA is overbound, then it will be having lesser base pairs as compared to the relaxed DNA. Therefore, it will be more tightly bound. So in this case, we will be having a higher number of twists, due to which the linking number will also increase. Now in this case, the DNA will become positively supercoiled, and it is not easy to separate. Now coming to the enzymes that are involved in this process. So we know that in a covalently closed circular DNA, both the ends will remain closed. So the linking number won't change. Now if we want to change the linking number, we need to break the DNA strand that is present. So for this we need enzymes. Now the enzyme that plays an important role here is topoisomerase. Now this enzyme, this topoisomerase, generally has the role of restoring the relaxed state of the DNA. So it can either underwind or unwind the DNA. Like it will either unwind overbound DNA or rewinds underwound DNA. Now the topoisomerase enzyme is of two types, type 1 topoisomerase and type 2 topoisomerase. So here you can see how the type 1 topoisomerase actually works. So the type 1 topoisomerase will react only on one strand. Of these two strands, it will go and it will cut only one strand. And this one strand passes through, and after that it is resealed. So in this diagram itself, you can see that initially there was a twist here and here, but now we are having only a single twist. So the linking number in this case is changed by 1. But in case of type 2 topoisomerase, you can see that both the there is a cleavage in both the strands. Like both the strands are cut here, and both the strands pass through each other, and then they will get resealed. So here also you can see that initially there was twist at two positions, but here we are not having any twist, which means that the linking number here changes by 2. So this is the table which represents the difference between type 1 topoisomerase and type 2 topoisomerase. So this one is already discussed that the type 1 topoisomerase will function by creating a single-stranded break. But type 2 topoisomerase will create a break in both the strands. Now, the type 1 topoisomerase do not require energy, but type 2 topoisomerase will require energy. This energy may either be in the form of ATP or NADH. This is also discussed, like we saw how the type 1 topoisomerase changes the linking number by 1 and type 2 changes the linking number by 2. Now these two isomerases can have different subclasses. In case of type 1 topoisomerase, it is having three subclasses. Type 1A, type 1B and type 1C is also present. So the type 1A is present in all cells and it will relax only negative supercoiling. This type 1B, it is present in eukaryotes and prokaryotes also, but it is absent in E. coli. So it can relax both the positive supercoiled and the negative supercoiled DNA. This is the difference between type 1A and type 2B. Type 1A can only relax negative supercoiling, but type 1B can relax both. Now in case of bacteria, there is a special form of type 2 topoisomerases which are also called as DNA gyres. Now these will, as we have already discussed, that type 2 topoisomerase will use energy. So DNA gyres will also use energy to negatively supercoil DNA rather than restoring the relaxed state. Okay, so what actually the function of DNA gyrase is that it will negatively supercoil the DNA. It won't restore the DNA back to the relaxed state. It will just introduce negative supercoiling. In case of thermophiles, it has been observed that there is an enzyme called reverse DNA gyrase. This is called by this name because it kind of acts opposite to what the gyrase does. Like we have already discussed that DNA gyrase is actually used to introduce negative supercoiling in the DNA. But reverse gyrase will introduce positive supercoiling in the DNA. That's why it is called as reverse gyrase. And remember that it is only present in thermophiles. So coming to the significance of this supercoiling, like we know that human DNA is B-type DNA and it is having right-handed coiling and right-handed turn, and it will be having negative supercoiling. So we have already discussed that negatively supercoiled are somewhat easy to break. Now here the advantage is, if we can easily break the negatively supercoiled DNA, then at the time of replication or transcription, to carry out these processes for the specific enzymes will become very easy, because we know that in case of replication or transcription, the DNA bonds are broken down and a single strand will function as the template. But in few cases of some bacteria which survive in extreme temperatures, these are called the thermophiles. So in their case, the DNA will become positively supercoiled. Why? Because the positively supercoiled DNA will store more energy, and we know that they are surviving in high temperature. So what happens if the temperature is very high and the DNA is unstable? So it is more prone to denature. But if the DNA is positively supercoiled, then the energy stored will be so high that the environmental temperature won't be enough to denature its DNA. That's why they preferably have positively supercoiled DNA. So in that case, even the enzyme cannot recognize the positively supercoiled DNA and it will be unable to cut, because we have already discussed that positively supercoiled DNA are tightly bound and they are not, then the bonds present are not easily broken. Okay, so that's it for DNA topology. If you like my video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share it. Thank you so much.